Now on Coast TV News.
Illegal U-turns continue to happen in Fenwick Island. There's one right there, what the town is looking to do.
Neighbors speaking out against their developer.
Back at Legislative Hall, but still no Representative Stell Parker Selby.
We rallied with some late sunshine today, but that set us up for some isolated thunderstorms for right now. We'll talk about that in the rest of the week as we get into a summer-like feel with your forecast.
This is Coast TV News at 5.
Be careful when you cross. This intersection is more dangerous than you might think. Good evening. I'm Madeline Overturf.
And I'm Charlie Sakaitis. Welcome to our News at 5. We begin tonight with plans to fix a longtime safety hazard in Fenwick Island.
The sign says no U-turn, but when nobody's looking, people still crank the wheel and take advantage. Specifically at this intersection in Fenwick Island, there's another one. It's just not safe, the town says. Coast TV News reporter Kevin Zappe shows us what DelDOT plans to do to try to stop that.
Craig Malone has lived in Fenwick Island for years, and he's seen people make illegal U-turns along Coastal Highway near Bayard Street.
Frequently. Yeah, they did a little crackdown last summer, and it slowed it up a little bit, so we'll see what happens in this season.
It's a problem that happens so often, our cameras caught multiple cars in the act today. One even happened in the middle of our interview.
They do have the warning lights on here, but that's another issue with people not stopping for the warning lights.
Now, I've only been here for around 10 minutes and I've already seen 4 cars do illegal U-turns. But some cars are getting creative by taking a left turn, which is legal, and then turning right here in this store's parking lot, driving right down, and then going to Ocean City. Something that also isn't allowed with a no-through traffic sign. The town wants to put a stop to the issue and proposed a change that could help. On Tuesday, DelDOT presented plans to add sidewalks all along Coastal Highway in Fenwick. That includes a plan to move the crosswalk to the north end. Fenwick Island Police Chief Michael Morrissey says this simple change could actually save someone's life.
People are making the illegal U-turn there at Bayard, and what they're doing is they're turning into the crosswalk where people will be crossing.
Malone agrees.
If it's moved up a little bit, we don't have to worry if people do make an illegal U-turn. You know, hopefully everybody's going to be following the rules, but it will definitely make it a little bit safer, and I think it'd be a better location for it.
If the sidewalk project goes as planned, you can expect the crosswalk to be moved sometime in 2028. But for now, look both ways and be extra careful before going to the beach. I'm Kevin Zappe, Fenwick Island, Coast TV News.
And some specifics on that proposed sidewalk project. DelDOT says it would be $3 million. It would add sidewalks along Coastal Highway from James Street to Lighthouse Road. Funding would build out the remaining gaps and create a continuous pedestrian route through town.
In Rehoboth Beach, Osprey Point is a luxury neighborhood off Old Landing Road with houses starting in the mid-600,000s. But neighbors that live inside are claiming they were misled by false advertising. Coast TV News reporter Brandon Ferguson is in the newsroom. Brandon, the main problem homeowners have is with the bay side of the property.
Charlie, neighbors made a website called exposingenvyhomes.com, and on this website they show this picture from a brochure claiming beachfront access, docks, and an infinity pool. But as you can see on your screen right now, this shoreline is untouched. The website claims NV Homes can't legally or physically construct the beach. Coast TV spoke with the homeowner who is looking forward to the lifestyle he says he was promised.
I think we all paid extra to live here for the amenities they offered us, and to date we don't have any of them, so I think we've overpaid.
Coast TV News did reach out to NV Homes, and they told us this was the first they were learning about this website and did not provide a statement at the time. Maddie and Charlie, back to you.
This brings us right into our Coast TV poll. Not a surprise here. Let's get to it. We want to know who should enforce developer promises.
Let's look at the results so far. Take a look at your screen, and 80% say local government, 8% say state agencies, 4% say HOAs themselves, and 8% say buyers' lawsuits.
I'll be interested to see if these numbers change throughout the night. You can go vote right now, or you could leave us a comment. You could do both at coasttv.com or use the Coast TV mobile app. And now let's take a live look into Rehoboth Beach. Ooh. It looks a little nasty out there as we check in with our First Alert Chief Meteorologist, Paul Williams.
Well, it looks what we would call misty blue. There was an old song in the 70s called Misty Blue. Now, you two wouldn't know about that because you guys are so young and I am so seasoned. Called me old earlier today. I don't know how to take that. Anyway, okay, back to your forecast because that's why we're here. Here's what's happening in Laurel. We have overcast conditions continuing to kick in for us. Temperatures in the 60s, and we're going to stay there waspling back and forth between 60s and 70s with spot showers. We had a little bit of sunshine, and that was just enough to kick off some of these isolated thunderstorms that I had to keep a close eye on because they're trying to form hailstorms and stones like that near Sharptown and Mardella Springs. This one is tracking more directly to the north. We had some earlier ones that dropped about a half an inch of rain in a very short period of time. Here's a wider view of what's happening. Now, we still have gusty winds along the coast with our concerns for about 25 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts. But aside from that, we're looking relatively quiet, but more rain is beginning to swell to our southwest and will begin to ease in our direction. We'll talk about the timing of the next round of real rain coming up in a moment. Till then, back to you, Maddie.
Paul, thank you. Turning to state politics, Democratic Representative Stell Parker Selby has now missed every day of this year's legislative session. CoastTV initially learned about her absence after Republicans sent a letter to House leadership asking for transparency. That was months ago, and one of the people who wrote that letter was the Sussex County Republican Chair Daniel Willis. Willis says both political parties owe it to their constituents to be honest and transparent.
The motivating factor for initially sending out the letter to continuing to apply pressure behind the scenes to our legislators to get answers, to get clear answers. And ultimately, with this interview, can be summarized in the quote, "The footprint is as big as the shoe. You cannot divorce yourself from the impact of your actions, or in this case, in the Democrat Party, the inaction."
Coming up at 6, hear why Republicans say a special election for this seat that remains absent just can't happen.
President Trump dealing and dining in Qatar, Trump signing what the White House calls a major economic deal, but wouldn't give specifics. NBC's Gabe Gutierrez shows us how Trump is selling Boeing jets to the nation he once said harbored terrorists while getting a gift as well.
President Trump in Qatar today for the second leg of his Middle East trip, a visit focused on resetting relationships and striking deals.
But we've been friends for a long time, and this is an outstanding man.
With the country he accused of harboring terrorists in his first term. Today, a different tone.
We have the best equipment anywhere in the world. You're buying a lot of that equipment.
The emir signing an agreement to buy up to 210 Boeing jets from the U.S. amid that controversial gift from Qatar, a $400 million luxury jet the president says he wants to use as Air Force One, drawing bipartisan backlash.
The plane poses significant espionage and surveillance problems, so we'll see how this issue plays out, but I certainly have concerns.
Earlier in Saudi Arabia, a remarkable face-to-face meeting. The president greeting the new leader of Syria, Ahmed al-Sharaa, a rebel leader who ousted the former dictator of the war-torn country.
He's got a real shot at pulling it together.
President Trump ending sanctions that had been in place for decades. That sparked celebrations in the streets of Syria. The president now weighing a stop in Turkey, where talks to end the war in Ukraine will begin Thursday. Ukrainian President Zelensky will attend, but it's not clear if Russian President Putin will.
I don't know if he's showing up. I know he would like me to be there, and that's a possibility. If we could end the war, I'd be thinking about that.
So while it's still up in the air whether President Trump will join the talks in Turkey, he is scheduled to wrap up his Middle East trip tomorrow in the United Arab Emirates. Gabe Gutierrez, NBC News, Washington.
80 years ago this week, a German submarine surrendered off the coast of Lewis. It was the first Axis surrender in U.S. waters. Our special story, Surrender at Sea, looks at how Delaware played a role in the final days of World War II. Coming up tonight, you can catch this story in just about an hour on CoastTV News at 6.
You're not going to want to miss that one, guys. A large-scale bird rescue and a funding dispute. One animal center says it's still waiting on reimbursement from the Department of Agriculture.
And we had a mild, damp night for Del Mar with some spotty storms. We're tracking the latest storm that's springing up near Spring Grove, headed towards Brookview and expected to hit towards Finchville before it's all said and done. Your full forecast coming up in a few moments.
honoring local law enforcement across Sussex County, how the community came out again to show appreciation. Up next.
This is Coast TV News at 5.
Today was the second day of the Back the Blue Caravan event.
Community members came together to show appreciation for local law enforcement across 3 major roadways. Today was Route 113.
Locals gathered at locations across Sussex to give out gifts, food, other items to share their thanks to police departments.
Organizers say this is their way of giving back to those who give their all.
Let the officers and the troopers know how much they care. A lot of times we get nothing, they get nothing but negative comments, and they need to know that the majority of the people in the county do support them and support them in a big way. This is just a small token of our appreciation.
Now tomorrow is the final day for the Back the Blue Caravan. They'll host departments on Route 13. Starts with Delmar PD at 10. Then Laurel Junction, Laurel PD will be honored. The caravan will then thank Seaford and Blades. Troop 5 is after that at the Bridgeville Park Center.
At 11:45, Bridgeville PD is up next, followed by Greenwood PD at the Royal Farms. After they are honored, there will be a Best in Show presentation. That's for the best decorated car participating in this year's event.
Summer like Phil moves into Cambridge with Crisfield and temperatures rising into the 80s. With a storm threat over the next 3 days, we'll review the next unsettled warm weather pattern that'll come back with your 7-day forecast. All that in a few moments. I know how you feel, really I do. So we caught a few stray showers today, and we're going to catch a few more stray showers over the next couple of days in a row. But the weekend is still looking pretty good, to be honest. Our Cambridge camera, 77. Dew point 70, so we have a lot of moisture in the atmosphere since the dew point temperature and the air temperature so close to one another. We'll drop to 68 degrees in Cambridge by 9 o'clock. 71 degrees right now, Millsboro, Georgetown, Seaford at this hour. But the winds out of the south is going to make it feel just a little bit warmer. We have a good deal of moisture, so that flow out of the south and that extra moisture in the atmosphere is going to make it feel just a little bit, well, almost a little muggy, to be quite honest. We still have very active winds along the beaches from Dewey Beach to Ocean View down towards Fenwick Island. That's going to be a concern. Gusty winds up to 25 miles per hour all the way until Thursday early in the morning from Ocean City down to Chincoteague. And the amount of rain right now, we've had over a half an inch in Ocean City, just over a quarter, 0.36 in Cambridge, and 0.38 officially Georgetown. We are picking up some isolated cells that's actually falling apart over towards the extreme western portion of our viewing area. We had some showers that pushed through Laurel, dropped about a half an inch of rain in about a 1 hour period, but then it broke up quickly because we have this warm front that's pushing through in this quasi-stationary front, which means it's kind of waving a little bit as it moves across Delmarva. It's creating more of a fuss throughout portions of Virginia than our neck of the woods. For us, a few showers for tonight, and temperatures in the low 60s. Our storyline Thursday, partly sunny, temperatures in the 70s and 80s with an isolated thunderstorm a possibility, particularly Friday. I'm more concerned about these storms turning ugly on Thursday night, Friday night going to Saturday because of the energy we'll accumulate throughout the day. So you got to remember that. Very big hint I always share with Maddie on over and over again. We're looking for temperatures in the 80s with a chance of storms. If we have sunshine tomorrow, all bets are off for anything staying calm. Okay, we need cloudy skies for the most part, and we should have cloudy skies, but we're still going to warm to 80 degrees in Cambridge. And you see this thermodynamic energy in place here for Berlin, 81 and 82 in Snow Hill. So I'm keeping a very close eye on this in case my spider senses start to tingle by the afternoon hours. 49 to 51% chance of rain for Thursday and Friday. Here's how it's going to make out, quickly pushing through for Thursday. By the afternoon, we're clear, but we're almost too clear. But we're looking for a delayed reaction or delay arrival of those scattered showers so we can avoid severe storms. But early in the morning, that's when it's going to pop for us. 3 o'clock on Thursday in the morning time, and in the afternoon we clear out and we're totally clear, which opens up the door for the heat to create some generated storms. And we're looking at perhaps a half an inch of rain, not much, but our muggy meter is back in play. We're going to be humid to very muggy going on Friday. Friday is going to feel like a muggy summer day. Afternoon, going to Saturday, spotty showers, and going to Sunday. So for tonight, 61 with spotty patchy fog. Tomorrow, 81, isolated shower and a storm. 85 on Friday. Friday's the day that I'm most concerned with even though I'll keep a close eye on Thursday as well. Here's a look at your extended forecast. We're going to get a little rain on Saturday, but it's not a washout because, see, Sunday's going to look all clear anyway.
Earlier this month, thousands of baby birds destined for various states ended up stranded at a Delaware distribution center. You might remember this story. After a shipping mishap, they now fill the first state animal shelter. The animal center, which has been caring for 4,000 surviving birds, says it hasn't received any compensation from the Department of Agriculture, despite an agreement outlining intake fees.
We have to pay staffing, medical, veterinary bills, feeding, getting animals up to speed for adoption, and then the manpower to get them adopted. So what goes on after the fact, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
The birds are now up for adoption, going for $3 a bird. The Animal Center says if they don't reach an agreement with the Department of Agriculture over the money, they won't help the state in the future.
Today is the last free parking day for a lot of Delaware's beaches, though you already have to pay in Lewis, by the way. Tomorrow, several towns begin enforcing paid parking. Dewey, Rehoboth, Bethany, Fenwick, all of them start charging May 15th to September 15th. And both Dewey and Bethany have increased their rates this year. So on CoastTV.com, we actually made you an entire parking guide for all those coastal towns, and you're going to want to check it out.
We salute Captain Jonathan Nordstrom. After nearly 30 years in the fire service, Captain Jonathan Nordstrom has retired from the Dover Air Force Base Fire Department. His journey began with 4 years of service in the U.S. Air Force at Dover Air Force Base, followed by a distinguished career as a firefighter, EMT with the Department of Defense, serving in Colorado, Florida, Virginia, Maryland, and ultimately returning to Dover. In retirement, he plans to share his passion for surfing through teaching and continue creating artwork showcased across the Eastern Shore. We salute Captain Nordstrom for a lifetime of service, dedication, and creativity.
Spicer Brothers and Coast TV are honoring military persons and first responders serving Delmarva. If you have a family member, friend, or community member that you would like to nominate for a Coast TV salute, go to coasttvsalutes.com.
New tonight, drug overdose deaths. They are down significantly in the U.S. That's good news. New data finds there were about 30,000 fewer OD deaths in 2024 compared to the previous year. That equates to a 27% drop. Now, data shows that synthetic opioids, primarily fentanyl, continue to be involved in most OD deaths. However, those deaths actually fell at an even steeper rate, 37%.
With the de-escalation of tariffs on China, you might be wondering, will Temu and Shein get ultra cheap again? The answer is a little bit yes and a little bit no. The low costs originally came from a loophole which let packages under $800 enter the U.S. duty-free. That loophole was destroyed with the new tariffs and subject to the same 145% tariff as everything else. Now those tariffs are 30% and only for express couriers like UPS and FedEx. If the U.S. Postal Service touches your parcel, it will be taxed at a higher 54% rate.
A popular streaming app is changing its name again. First it was HBO, then HBO Max, and for the last 2 years it was just called Max. Well, now they're going back to HBO Max. The Warner Brothers say this change puts a focus on quality rather than quantity.
Here's a live look into Cambridge. One more check on the forecast after the break.
Our Paul Davis Restoration Home Remodeling Umbrella winner, Hannah Warner of Ocean View. Congratulations. Come by and pick up your umbrella, Hannah. Be sure you do that. By the way, you can call our weather line, updated for you already. Your forecast is just a call away, sponsored by the law offices of Bruxted, Mandalis, and Federico. And finally, here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. Bottom line is for the next few days, it's going to be in the 80s. It's going to be summertime muggy for real on and Saturday. Unfortunately, we have to add Saturday to our chances of rain, but we're still looking pretty clear all day long for Sunday.
All right, thanks, Paul, and thanks for joining us here for Coast TV News at 5.
For more news, more local weather, download our Coast TV News app.
Inside Edition is up next.
And we'll see you later tonight for Coast TV News at 6. Have a great evening.